Your 20s will either define you or distract you, and the difference is focus. This decade is not a waiting room. It's the foundation of the life you will live for the next 40 years. Every yes you give, every later you postpone, every friend you keep, every risk you take, they're all shaping the story you will one day live in. Most people waste their 20s trying to figure life out without ever stopping to build it. They keep chasing what's next, the next trend, the next approval, the next thrill, and call it living. But drifting is not living. Movement is not progress. You can spend a whole decade running in circles and call it growth. You've been told you have time. You've been told you can afford to take it slow. But time doesn't pause for confusion. It quietly shapes you while you hesitate. You think you're waiting for clarity, but life is already happening, shaping your habits, sculpting your values, and solidifying your direction. The truth is, the longer you drift, the harder it becomes to steer. This book is a mirror. It will not flatter you. It will focus you. It will show you the hidden traps of your 20s, the comfort that kills ambition, the distraction that disguises itself as opportunity, and the fear that masquerades as caution. It will confront your excuses, challenge your mindset, and help you build a life that matters, piece by intentional piece. You will learn that purpose doesn't come by accident. It comes by awareness. You must stop moving blindly and start living deliberately. You will see how drifting, that quiet, easy, familiar motion, is the first enemy of purpose. It feels safe, but it steals time. This decade demands clarity, not comfort. You will learn how to build an inner compass, the values and convictions that keep you steady when the world pulls you in 100 directions. You'll stop letting trends dictate your worth and start letting truth define your path. You will learn to live by principles, not pressure, and to recognize that saying no to distractions is not limitation, but direction. You will discover that work, real work, is not about a paycheck or applause. It's about purpose. Your 20s are the workshop of your destiny, the time to develop skill, discipline, and focus. You'll see that success is not what you chase. It's what you build when you stop performing and start serving. You'll learn that fulfillment isn't found in busyness, but in meaningful contribution. You'll also come face to face with your relationships, the people who pull you closer to your future or hold you hostage to your past. You'll learn to recognize the difference between friends who sharpen you and friends who dull your drive. You'll understand that not everyone can walk your road, and that maturity is learning to love people without letting them lead your life. Then comes the truth about habits, those quiet builders of destiny. You'll learn that what you do daily shapes what you become permanently. Consistency is not glamorous, but it's powerful. The routines you ignore today will become the regrets you carry tomorrow. You must build habits that align with who you want to be, not who you feel like being. Failure will no longer frighten you. You'll see that failure is not a dead end. It's the training ground of resilience. Every fall will become feedback, every setback a seed of strength. You will learn to fail forward, to let pain polish you instead of paralyze you. Because the ones who rise are not those who never fail. They're the ones who never stop learning. And yes, this book will take you into the deeper fight, the fight between faith and fear. You'll confront the voice that tells you you're not enough, not ready, not capable. You'll discover that real strength doesn't come from self-confidence alone. It comes from spiritual grounding, from believing that your life is not random, that your journey has meaning beyond what you can see. Finally, you'll learn how to design a life you're proud of, not someday, but today. You'll understand how to align your purpose with your actions, how to protect your peace, and how to stop living in reaction mode. This is where it all connects: your values, your work, your faith, your discipline, your vision. You'll realize that you don't build a meaningful life by luck. You build it by daily decisions that honor your purpose. So yes, this book will challenge you. It will demand honesty. It will ask you to stop hiding behind "I'm figuring it out" and start becoming who you were meant to be. Because if you don't take charge of your story now, the world will write one for you, and you may not like how it ends. You're not too young. You're not too late. You are not behind. You are right on time if you choose to wake up now. Your 20s are not for wasting. They are for building. This is the decade where you lay the foundation for everything that comes after. Your career, your character, your relationships, your faith. The cement is still wet. You still have time to shape it. You can either drift or design. You can either react or rise. You can either wait or work. This book will teach you how to choose intentionally. Because the truth is simple. You don't find purpose. You build it. And it starts here. Chapter 1. Your 20s is a time of foundation. Your 20s are not a waiting room. They are not the pause before real life begins. They are real life. The foundation. The setup. The decade that determines direction. Yet too many people treat it like a free trial. Something to test out before commitment. Something to waste and restart later. But you don't get another version of your 20s. You get one. And how you use it will echo through every decade after. Let's be honest. This is the most confusing, noisy, and pressure-filled decade you will ever live. You're told to find yourself, build a career, save money, travel the world, fall in love, buy a house, and make memories, all before you figured out how to do your laundry consistently. You're trying to become everything at once, and in the process, you start feeling like nothing is working. But here's the truth you need to swallow early. Your 20s are not about perfection. They're about construction. You are laying bricks, not for a house you'll move into tomorrow, but for the one that will hold you for decades to come. The world lied to you about timing. The culture says you have time, plenty of it. Don't stress, they say. You're still young. You'll figure it out. And while that sounds comforting, it's also dangerous. Because when you believe you have endless time, you live carelessly. You delay growth. You procrastinate on purpose. You waste the most flexible and fertile years of your life in indecision. The truth is, you don't have forever. Your 20s are a window of possibility, a time when your habits are forming, your relationships are defining, and your mindset is being shaped. Every choice you make now, how you spend your time, who you let into your life, what you tolerate, and what you chase, becomes the architecture of your future. You're not just living your 20s, you're building your 30s, 40s, and beyond. Every yes and every no is either strengthening or weakening your foundation. The culture of confusion. Let's talk about the noise. We live in a generation that celebrates exposure but neglects depth. You're praised for how fast you move, not how firm you stand. Social media has made it worse. Everyone seems to be ahead of you. Someone your age just bought a house, another just started a company, another just got married, and another is touring the world while you're trying to figure out how to pay rent. And so, you start to panic. You compare your behind the scenes to everyone's highlight reel. You feel like you're losing a race you didn't even sign up for. You begin to question everything. Your worth, your decisions, your timeline. But comparison is not a mirror. It's a mirage. It shows you what seems real, not what is real. The people you're comparing yourself to are also confused, insecure, and struggling. They're just better at hiding it. Here's the painful truth. If you spend your 20s chasing someone else's story, you'll never discover your own. Your 20s were not given to you to impress people. They were given to you to build yourself. This is the decade to ask the hard questions. What actually matters to me? What am I willing to suffer for? What kind of person do I want to become? Because if you don't define these things, the world will define them for you. And the world's version of success is shallow. Fame without fulfillment, wealth without purpose, and attention without identity. Imagine building a skyscraper. No one claps when the foundation is being laid. It's boring work, messy, slow, and hidden underground. But without it, the building collapses the moment the wind blows. That's what your 20s are, the unseen construction phase of your life. You're digging deep, setting roots, forming disciplines, and building character. Nobody may notice now, but everything you do in this season, how you handle failure, how you treat people, how you use your time, is determining how high you can rise later. You can fake success for a while, but you can't fake foundation. Talent might open doors, but character keeps you inside. Looks might get you noticed, but discipline sustains you. Connections might give you opportunities, but integrity keeps you trusted. So, The question isn't, how fast can I rise? It's, how strong is the ground I'm standing on? You've probably heard this advice. Your 20s are for exploring. And that's true, but not in the way you think. Exploration isn't about trying everything and committing to nothing. It's about discovering what truly aligns with your design. You can't find yourself in endless distraction. You find yourself in reflection. You don't need to date 10 people to know what you want. You need to know who you are. You don't need to work 10 jobs to find purpose. You need to learn what energizes you and what drains you. Every experience should teach you something about you. The jobs that frustrate you, the friendships that fail, the goals that fall apart, they're all revealing what matters most. So stop labeling every mistake as wasted time. In your 20s, mistakes are not evidence of failure. They're classrooms of wisdom. The only real failure is refusing to learn. Most people in their 20s are waiting for permission. Permission to start, to build, to move, to believe in themselves. But no one is coming to hand you a roadmap. You're the one who has to pick a direction and start walking. Clarity doesn't come from waiting. It comes from moving. The reason you feel lost is because you're standing still, not because life is unfair. You have to stop expecting perfect conditions to make imperfect progress. You won't always know where the next step leads, but that's okay. Direction is discovered in motion. Every person you admire, every leader, artist, innovator, or world changer started with confusion. They didn't know exactly what to do. They just decided to begin. And in the process, clarity revealed itself. You can't steer a parked car. You can only guide it when it's moving. If your 20s teach you one thing, let it be this: feelings are unreliable. Motivation fades. Inspiration disappears. But discipline, that's what builds your foundation. You don't need to feel like reading to learn. You don't need to feel like saving to build wealth. You don't need to feel like showing up to grow consistency. Discipline is the quiet decision to do what your future self will thank you for. You're not your emotions. You are your choices. And in your 20s, your choices are creating habits. Habits that will either build your strength or bury your potential. If you train yourself now to follow through when it's hard, you'll thank yourself later when life gets harder. Another hidden part of your foundation is your circle. Who you walk with determines where you end up. You can't build a focused life surrounded by distracted people. Your 20s are the time to audit your relationships, not in a cold, judgmental way, but in a wise and intentional one. Ask yourself, do the people around me challenge me or comfort my laziness? Do they pull me forward or hold me back? Do they add peace or drama to my life? You become like what you're consistently around. If you spend every weekend with people who only live for the weekend, don't be surprised when your life becomes one long weekend. Choose people who stretch you, who make you think deeper, who help you grow. Choose people who don't just like you, but believe in the person you're becoming. Let's settle this once and for all. You are not behind. You're not late. You are not lost. You are becoming. And becoming takes time. Everyone's journey moves at a different pace. Some people start fast and burn out early. Others start slow and last long. Don't let comparison make you question your own process. Success without identity leads to emptiness. You can achieve everything and still feel nothing if you skip the season of foundation. So breathe. Slow down. You are not waiting for your life to start. You are living it. And every choice you make today is laying bricks for the version of you you'll meet in 10 years. The real question is not, what do I want to do with my life? The real question is, what kind of person am I becoming? Because when you build the right person, the right path will reveal itself. You are not here to chase trends. You are here to build truth. You are not here to impress. You are here to impact. You are not here to drift. You're here to build. The 20s are not lost years. They are formative years. The ground you're standing on may feel uncertain, but it's sacred. Because in this decade, God, life, and experience are all shaping you into the kind of person who can handle what you're praying for. So don't rush through this season. Don't despise the small beginnings. Don't mistake confusion for failure. It's part of the formation. Lay your foundation with care, with courage, and with conviction. Because everything you dream of will rest on it. And when the storms come, and they will, It won't be your speed, looks, or followers that sustain you. It will be your foundation. This is the decade to build it. You're not waiting for life to begin. You are building the life that will. Because even if you feel lost right now, remember, lost doesn't mean hopeless. It just means you're still under construction. Chapter 2. Lost but not hopeless. Let's be real. Sometimes life in your 20s feels like walking through fog. You wake up, go through the motions, scroll through social media, see everyone else's progress, and wonder, what am I even doing with my life? You don't hate where you are, but you're not excited either. You have dreams, but no clear direction. You're moving, but not sure if you're moving forward. That quiet confusion, that silent panic you feel when you think about your future, that's not failure. That's a signal. It means you're searching for meaning. It means you care. The truth is, being lost isn't the problem. Staying lost is. Your 20s will often feel like standing at a crossroads with no map. And that's okay, because purpose is not something you bump into. It's something you build. No one tells you how lonely your 20s can be. You're too old to blame your parents, too young to have it all figured out. You're expected to be independent, but you still crave direction. You want to be taken seriously, but deep down, you still doubt yourself. And everywhere you look, it feels like everyone else is doing better. One friend is getting married. Another is starting a business. Someone else is posting pictures in Paris. And you're just trying to make rent and remember to drink enough water. It's easy to think you're behind, that you're missing something everyone else got at birth. But let me tell you the truth. Nobody really knows what they're doing. They're just guessing more confidently than you are. The illusion of certainty is one of the biggest lies of adulthood. Everyone is improvising. Some are just louder about it. So stop thinking you're broken because you're unsure. Feeling lost doesn't mean you lack direction. It means you're honest enough to admit you don't have all the answers yet. When a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it dissolves inside the cocoon. It literally breaks down before it transforms. That process looks messy, but it's necessary. That's what your 20s feel like. You're dissolving. You're shedding childhood definitions, breaking free from family expectations, and trying to figure out who you are apart from what people told you to be. It's uncomfortable. It's disorienting. But it's the only way to grow. Growth will always feel like loss at first. Loss of identity, loss of certainty, loss of control. But underneath that chaos, something new is forming. Clarity, maturity, direction. So instead of running from confusion, lean into it. Ask yourself, why do I feel lost? What exactly am I afraid of? What would I do if fear wasn't holding me back? Clarity doesn't come from wishing for it. It comes from working through the fog. Here's part of why so many people feel stuck. The culture we live in thrives on pressure. You're told that by 25, you should have your career sorted. By 28, you should have your finances stable. By 30, you should have a house, a partner, a 5-year plan, and a perfect body. But what if you're 26 and still figuring it out? What if you're 29 and still chasing clarity? What if your path doesn't fit the timeline? Listen carefully. There is no timeline for purpose. The world may try to measure your worth by how fast you move, but God measures it by how deeply you grow. You're not late. You're learning. You're not off track. You're being refined. Sometimes the delay is divine, a pause to build something stronger within you before you build something big around you. When you feel lost, your instinct is to panic. You start saying yes to everything, every job, every opportunity, every relationship, hoping one of them will finally make you feel grounded. But desperation breeds distraction. And when you don't know where you're going, even the wrong door looks like an open one. Stop reacting. Start reflecting. You don't find purpose by rushing. You find it by reflecting. Take a breath. Sit with your thoughts. Ask yourself what actually makes you come alive. Don't drown out your own voice with the noise of everyone else's expectations. Panic says, I need to figure it out now. Purpose says, I'll take one honest step at a time. You have to stop confusing movement with progress. Some people are running fast, but in circles. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. You're not weak for slowing down. You're not lazy for taking time to think. You're not unambitious for choosing peace over pressure. Rest is not wasted time. it's strategy. Reflection is not hesitation, it's alignment. Some of your best decisions will come from moments of stillness. That's when the noise fades and your real desires start to surface. Ask yourself, what's draining me? What's energizing me? What can I let go of to make room for what matters? You have to protect your mental and emotional energy like gold, because that's what will sustain your purpose when everything else feels uncertain. One of the biggest lies of this generation is the need to look fine. We post filtered smiles, polished captions, and pretend we're doing great, all while quietly drowning inside. But pretending you're fine keeps you stuck. You can't heal what you hide. You can't fix what you fake. You need to be honest, not just with others, but with yourself. Admit when you're confused. Admit when you're tired. Admit when you don't know. Honesty is not weakness, it's wisdom. Clarity begins when pretending ends. The people who grow the fastest are not the ones who know it all. They're the ones humble enough to ask for help. Find mentors, friends, or even books that challenge your confusion. Don't isolate yourself in silence. You were never meant to figure it all out alone. Here's a hard truth. God doesn't waste confusion. Every unanswered question, every failed attempt, every closed door, it's shaping you. The problem is, you're trying to skip the process that's supposed to prepare you. You want clarity without construction. You want results without refinement. But you can't shortcut purpose. The waiting season is not empty. It's building your endurance. The uncertain season is not wasted. It's strengthening your faith. The quiet season is not silent. It's developing your voice. When you feel lost, ask yourself, what is this season teaching me? Because if you learn from your lostness, you'll never truly be lost again. There's a difference between being confused and being called. Confusion paralyzes you. Calling pulls you. Confusion says, you're stuck. Calling says, you're in training. Sometimes what feels like being lost is actually being led. You're just in a part of the story that doesn't make sense yet. Don't curse your current chapter. Every great story has one that starts in the dark. Moses wandered. David hid. Joseph was forgotten. Even Jesus waited 30 years before he began his ministry. Your season of uncertainty is not proof of failure. It's proof of formation. You will never find purpose by overthinking it. You find it by doing something. Clarity is not an idea. It's an outcome of action. Start small. Volunteer somewhere. Read a new book. Start a side project. Serve. Help someone. The more you move, the more you'll learn about what energizes you and what drains you. Purpose is not found in one big moment. It's discovered in small, consistent acts of courage. You won't get all the answers at once, but each small yes to growth will reveal the next step. Stop saying, I'm lost. Start saying, I'm learning. Because the words you use shape the story you believe. If you keep telling yourself you're lost, your brain starts to act like it's trapped. But when you tell yourself you're learning, your mind stays open to possibilities. You're not behind. You're being built. You're not failing. You're forming. You're not wasting time. You're walking through training. You are not the confusion you feel. You are the person strong enough to walk through it. This is the hope you must hold on to. You won't be lost forever. The fog will lift. The pieces will connect. The doors will open. But when they do, you'll look back and realize the confusion was necessary. It stripped away what you didn't need and prepared you for what you do. Being lost is temporary. What you learn in it lasts forever. So breathe. Don't panic. Don't compare. Don't quit. You're not hopeless. You're in process. You are not behind. You're becoming. You're not missing out. You're being molded. You are exactly where you need to be for now. And that for now is building your next. So when you feel lost, don't ask, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Because once you learn that lesson, confusion becomes clarity and lost becomes found. Chapter 3. Purpose versus pressure. The truth is, most people in their 20s are not lazy. They're just tired of being pulled in every direction. Everyone seems to have an opinion on who you should be, what you should study, where you should work, when you should marry, and how successful you should look by now. You're told to dream big, but stay realistic. To chase your passion, but make sure it pays well. To take your time, but hurry up before you're too late. And somewhere between those mixed messages, your sense of self starts to drown. You begin living under pressure instead of purpose. Let's be honest, a lot of what feels like purpose in our 20s isn't really purpose. It's pressure dressed up as purpose. It's the voice of your parents, society, or social media convincing you that their version of success is your destiny. You study a course you don't love because it sounds professional. You take a job that pays well but kills your peace. You post achievements online not because you're proud, but because you don't want to look like you're falling behind. Every scroll through Instagram becomes a silent question. Am I enough? You see people your age buying cars, launching brands, getting married, relocating abroad, and you begin to feel like you're missing something. But here's the reality. Comparison is the fastest way to lose clarity. When you're constantly measuring yourself by someone else's timeline, you stop hearing the quiet voice inside you, the one that whispers your own calling. Pressure says, do this so they'll be proud. Purpose says, do this because it aligns with who you are. Pressure is external. It's loud, demanding, and performance-driven. Purpose is internal. It's calm, steady, and conviction-driven. Pressure thrives on validation. Purpose thrives on peace. When you live under pressure, you measure your value by what you achieve. When you live with purpose, you measure your growth by who you're becoming. And here's the catch. Both can look similar from the outside. Two people can chase the same career. One does it from fear of disappointing others. The other does it from a deep sense of calling. The difference is not in what they do, it's in why they do it. In many families, success is defined long before you even understand yourself. You're told, you'll be a doctor like your uncle, or engineering is the only course that makes sense, or don't waste your degree chasing art. Parents mean well, they want security, not suffering. But in trying to protect you from failure, they sometimes protect you from growth. Many 20-somethings are secretly living under silent guilt. They want to please their family, but also want to honor their heart. They want to make their parents proud, but not lose themselves in the process. The truth is, you can love your family and still not follow their script. Honoring them doesn't mean imprisoning your purpose. Because at the end of the day, your parents will not live the consequences of your decisions. You will. Society loves to create timelines. By 25, you should have figured out your career. By 28, you should be married. By 30, you should have made it. But who wrote these rules? Who decided that growth has an expiry date? Purpose doesn't run on a calendar. It runs on calling. Some people find theirs early, others later. Both are fine. If you rush into a version of life that isn't yours, you'll end up resenting the very things you once prayed for. Because success without purpose feels like failure in disguise. Peer pressure isn't just about doing bad things. It's also about doing good things for the wrong reasons. You start a business not because you have a vision, but because everyone is doing something. You enter a relationship because everyone is getting married. You chase opportunities that look good, but drain your soul. And soon, you realize you're busy, but not fulfilled. Productive, but not progressing. Surrounded, but not supported. Because the truth is, not every open door is your door. Not every opportunity is divine. Some are distractions in disguise. You can't live purposefully if you're constantly reacting to what everyone else is doing. Here's a difficult question. Whose dream are you living? Sometimes, the dream that drives you isn't even yours. It's your father's unfulfilled ambition, your mother's silent expectation, your friend's influence, your society's definition of making it. It's easy to confuse borrowed dreams for divine direction. But one day, the excitement fades, and you realize you've been running someone else's race. The process of finding purpose often begins with unlearning. You have to pause and ask, who am I apart from what others expect of me? That's not rebellion. It's responsibility. You owe it to yourself and to God to discover the reason you were created, not just the reason people think you exist. I once met a young woman who left a high-paying job in finance to become a teacher. Her parents thought she was crazy. Her friends pitied her. But she said, I'd rather earn less and sleep well than earn more and lose myself. Years later, she started an education foundation that has transformed lives. The same people who doubted her now celebrate her. Another young man I know walked away from a career in tech to pursue filmmaking. He said, "I don't want to just build systems. I want to tell stories that build people." He struggled at first, but that struggle became the soil for his greatness. Purpose isn't always comfortable, but it's always clarifying. When you begin to walk in it, things start to align, not instantly, but internally. You stop chasing recognition and start chasing alignment. When you feel lost, pressured, or unsure, don't panic, pause. Clarity doesn't come from rushing. It comes from reflecting. Ask yourself, whose voice am I obeying right now? God's, mine, or theirs? Am I moving out of fear or faith? If no one were watching, would I still choose this path? Learning to ask better questions is the first step to finding better direction. You won't figure out everything overnight, but when you begin to live with intention, when your decisions flow from conviction, not comparison, peace follows. Pressure says you're running out of time. Purpose says you're right on time. Pressure makes you anxious about tomorrow. Purpose makes you faithful with today. Pressure drains. Purpose directs. Pressure enslaves. Purpose empowers. The moment you stop performing and start becoming, you'll feel a freedom you didn't know existed. Your 20s are not about having it all figured out. They're about learning who you are without the noise. And that discovery? It's the foundation of everything that comes next. Chapter 3. The Compass Within. There's a compass inside you, not made of metal or magnet, but of truth, quiet, steady, and always pointing toward who you really are. The problem is, most people never hear it. They've spent too long listening to the noise outside them, the opinions, the expectations, the trends, the pressure to keep up. The world shouts so loudly that your soul's whisper becomes easy to miss. But the secret of your 20s is this. The more you silence the noise, the more direction you find. Your 20s are not about knowing everything. They're about knowing yourself. You're not behind. You're becoming. Every moment of confusion, every stretch of restlessness, every season of uncertainty, they are shaping your inner compass. But that compass cannot guide you if you never stop long enough to listen. The first step to direction isn't hustle, it's reflection. You can't find your way forward if you don't know where you're standing. You can't live with purpose if you haven't learned to pause. Purpose begins where self-awareness begins. And self-awareness demands that you stop running long enough to hear the still voice within you. The one that says, this is who you are. This is what matters. You see, life doesn't give clarity to the loud. It gives clarity to the listening. Many people spend their 20s chasing shadows, copying someone else's dream, pursuing careers they hate, or performing roles that earn applause but drain the soul. They confuse movement for meaning. They're busy but not becoming. And deep down, something feels off because it is. Your compass doesn't lie. It may grow quiet, but it never disappears. Every time you betray what's true for you, you feel it. That inner dissonance, that tension between who you are and what you're pretending to be. The more you ignore it, the more life feels heavy. But the moment you start honoring it, the fog begins to lift. You start to walk lighter. You start to feel alive again. Your values are your coordinates. They tell you what truly matters when everything else feels blurred. Values like honesty, creativity, faith, compassion, excellence. They're not random. They're clues. They're the fingerprints of your design. When you live outside of them, life feels forced. When you live within them, even struggle feels sacred. But here's the catch. If you don't define your values, the world will define them for you. Society will tell you what matters. Fame, money, visibility, power, and you'll spend your best years climbing a ladder leaning against the wrong wall. That's how burnout happens. Not because people don't work hard, but because they work hard at the wrong things. The soul gets tired of running toward destinations that don't satisfy it. Your strengths are your map. They point toward your greatest contribution. Strengths aren't just what you're good at. They're what make you come alive. You can be skilled at something and still feel empty. Competence without connection is slow death. But when you operate in your strength zone, everything shifts. Work stops being survival and starts becoming service. You move from exhaustion to exhilaration. You stop enduring life and start engaging it. And here's the truth. Your strength doesn't need permission. It only needs recognition. You don't need a title to live in your gifting. You don't need a spotlight to shine. You just need to pay attention to the moments that feel natural, to the tasks that energize you, to the situations where time disappears. Those aren't accidents. They're instructions. They're reminders of what you were wired to do. And then there's passion, the fuel that keeps your compass alive. Passion isn't always loud. Sometimes it hums quietly beneath your routine. It hides in what angers you, what breaks your heart, what you can't walk past without caring. Passion doesn't always look glamorous. Sometimes it looks like showing up again and again for something no one claps for. But passion is sacred. It's your inner flame saying, "This matters." Don't overlook it just because it feels small. Most great callings don't begin with fireworks. They begin with burdens. The burden to help, to heal, to teach, to build, to create. That weight on your heart is not random. It's divine direction. If you want to hear your compass more clearly, start writing. Not online, privately. Journaling is not self-indulgence. It's self-discovery. Write what excites you. Write what drains you. Write what you learned this week and what scared you the most. Because the thoughts you don't capture will control you. Journaling is a mirror. It reveals the patterns beneath your surface. Over time, you'll begin to see yourself more clearly. You'll see where your passion intersects with your strength, where your energy naturally flows, and where your heart resists. That's how you begin to decode your direction. That's how you find the rhythm of your design. And yes, there are tools that can help you. Personality assessments, strength finders, reflection exercises, they're not boxes, they're mirrors. They don't define you, they reveal you. They give language to your wiring. They show you where your energy thrives and where it drains. You don't use them to limit yourself. You use them to stop fighting yourself. Because burnout often begins when you spend your life trying to be who you're not. When you combine your values, strengths, and passion, you build what I call a purpose compass. It points north to what matters most, your values, east to what you're good at, your strengths, south to what excites you, your passion, and west to who you want to impact, your contribution. Once you align these four directions, life starts making sense again. The fog begins to thin. You stop drifting. You stop saying yes to everything. You start choosing what actually leads you home. You might not have the full map yet, and that's okay. Purpose rarely arrives as a billboard. It's not an event, it's a discovery. It reveals itself step by step as you walk faithfully in what you already know. The compass doesn't show you the whole journey. It gives you confidence for the next step. That's all you need right now. One obedient step at a time. Because direction comes from movement. The compass works only when you're walking. It doesn't matter how slow, just move. Test, reflect, adjust, repeat. You'll never feel fully ready, and that's fine. Readiness is overrated. Obedience is what builds clarity. But don't forget this. Your inner compass can only stay sharp when your life stays quiet enough for truth to rise. You must build rhythms that protect your peace, solitude, prayer, journaling, stillness. Without silence, the compass spins wildly. The more crowded your mind, the more confused your heart. The world keeps shouting, hustle, grind, go faster. But wisdom whispers, slow down, go deeper. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is pause. And in those quiet moments, something beautiful happens. You begin to remember who you are. You remember that your worth is not in your productivity, your salary, or your likes. You remember that you were created with intention. You remember that the goal is not just to make a living, but to make meaning. That's the compass awakening inside you. That's the whisper you lost beneath the noise. So ask yourself the real questions. What makes me feel alive? What kind of problems do I feel drawn to solve? What would I do even if no one noticed? What do I want my life to say about me when it's all over? These aren't shallow questions. They're soul questions. They don't give instant answers, but they pull you toward authenticity. And that's what your 20s are for. Not perfection, but alignment. You're learning to align who you are with what you do. To align your calendar with your calling. To align your voice with your values. Don't rush it. Don't compare it. The compass doesn't give timelines. it gives truth. And truth unfolds slowly. There will be days you'll doubt your direction, days when the path feels dark and the signals feel faint. But even then, trust the inner pull. The compass may not tell you exactly where you'll end up, but it will never point you wrong. Keep listening, keep adjusting, keep becoming. Because when you know who you are, you stop asking for permission to become it. You stop chasing validation. You stop auditioning for acceptance. You stop living for approval and start living from authenticity. That's what the compass does. It centers you. It brings you back home when life tries to scatter you. It reminds you that you are not lost. You are learning the terrain. It reminds you that uncertainty is not punishment. It's preparation. Your 20s are not a maze to escape. They're a mirror to explore. Every job, every relationship, every mistake is part of that mirror. They all show you a piece of yourself. And as those pieces come together, direction becomes clearer. So slow down. The compass is already working. You don't need more noise. You need more stillness. You don't need more answers. You need more honesty. You don't need to know the whole map. You just need to trust the next step. Because truthfully, you're not finding purpose. Purpose is finding you. And it's been whispering inside you all along, waiting for the moment you finally decide to listen. Chapter 4. Fail forward fast. If you want to grow, you must stop fearing failure. Failure is not your enemy. Hesitation is. You are not behind because you've fallen. You only stay behind if you refuse to rise. The people who win early in life are not the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail fast, learn fast, and move forward. Your 20s are not a decade for perfection. They are a decade for training. And the greatest teacher in your 20s is failure. You've been told all your life that success means getting everything right, that if you just follow the plan, tick the boxes, and stay disciplined, everything will fall into place. But life doesn't work that way. There's no single formula, no secret path, no guaranteed sequence. The truth is, everyone is figuring it out. Everyone, even the people who seem like they've got everything together. They're improvising, learning, and pivoting in real time. So stop comparing your Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 10. You're not late. You're not behind. You're just in process. The only thing that truly makes you late is refusing to start because you're scared of getting it wrong. Failure is feedback. That's all it is. It's not a death sentence. It's a diagnosis. It shows you what works, what doesn't, what to refine, and who to become. Every rejection, every heartbreak, every failed project, every closed door, they are all information. They teach you what matters and what doesn't. They strip away illusions and clarify truth. Failure is how life filters your motives and polishes your vision. It's how you grow backbone. It's how you stop being a dreamer and become a doer. Your 20s are the perfect laboratory for this. This is the decade to experiment, to risk, to stretch. You have room to pivot. You have time to rebuild. You're not stuck. You're in rehearsal. So stop living like the world will collapse if you make a mistake. It won't. You'll survive. You'll adjust. You'll grow stronger. But here's the key. You must fail forward. Failure itself won't make you wise. Reflection will. Falling won't make you resilient. Rising will. Pain won't make you deep. Processing it will. Don't waste your mistakes. Don't waste your tears. Don't waste your detours. Ask better questions. Instead of, why did this happen to me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? Instead of, why did they reject me? Ask, what did I learn about my value, my timing, or my boundaries? Because every fall carries a message. Every disappointment carries data. Every crash course, if you listen, can become a turning point. The ones who become great didn't avoid mistakes. They mastered recovery. They refused to let shame stop their momentum. They understood that failure is not an identity. It's an event. It passes. It teaches. It builds. They saw every setback as strength training. Every fall as resistance that developed their mental muscle. Every rejection as a redirection towards something better aligned with who they were becoming. You must make that same shift. Stop worshiping perfection and start practicing persistence. Stop obsessing over flawless execution and start celebrating consistent evolution. Success is never born in a straight line. It's born in spirals, loops of trying, falling, learning, adjusting, and trying again. Failure is not proof that you're unworthy. It's proof that you're trying. The people who never fail are the ones who never dare. They stay safe. They stay small. They stay silent. And they call it wisdom. But it's not wisdom. It's fear dressed up as caution. The comfort zone is a slow killer. It looks peaceful, but it quietly steals your potential. So take the small, bold steps. The ones that scare you but don't destroy you. Speak up when you'd rather stay quiet. Launch that idea even if it's not perfect. Apply for that role even if you're not ready. Post that creative work even if no one claps. Try, move, risk. Every act of courage compounds. Every stumble expands your capacity. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's action in spite of it. And here's the truth. Courage grows when you move, not when you wait. You will pick wrong paths. You will trust wrong people. You will waste time on wrong projects. But all of that is part of the training. You can't discover your direction by standing still. You have to move. You have to test. You have to trip. You have to adjust. That's how your compass sharpens. The goal is not to fail less. It's to recover faster. Reflection beats regret. When something doesn't work, don't drown in shame. Write it down. What worked? What didn't? What will I do differently next time? What strength did this pain uncover in me? That's how you turn failure into fuel. That's how you turn wounds into wisdom. Resilience is the real gift of failing forward. It's what happens when you stop fearing life's punches. You realize you're not as fragile as you thought. You learn that storms don't destroy you. They define you. And every time you get back up, your soul becomes steel. Your faith deepens. Your confidence matures. You stop fearing the next fall because you know you'll rise again. That's power. That's freedom. That's growth. Because once you've fallen and survived, what can scare you anymore? Nothing. You've tasted the bottom and found out you can breathe there. You've lost what you thought you couldn't live without and found out you're still standing. That realization makes you unstoppable. So stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if I never try? The real tragedy is not in falling. It's in standing still in the name of safety. Fear might protect you from embarrassment, but it also steals your evolution. You don't grow from what you avoid. You grow from what you face. The reason most people never step into their potential is not because they lack opportunity. It's because they lack the courage to be bad at something new. They want to look smart before they've learned anything. They want applause before mastery. They want instant results without process. But life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards participation. Start ugly. Start unready. Start with trembling hands if you must. Just start. The first version will always be messy, but that's the only way you get to the masterpiece. Every expert was once a beginner who kept showing up. Every confident person you admire was once terrified. Every success story began with an awkward first step. Don't despise your rough beginnings. They're proof that you're in motion. And when you fail, because you will, fail forward. Don't lose your lesson in your lament. Don't let guilt choke your growth. Take responsibility, not residency. Learn, don't linger. The difference between guilt and growth is that guilt keeps you stuck, while growth gets you stronger. Think about it. All the great innovators failed repeatedly. Thomas Edison ran through thousands of light bulb prototypes before one worked. Oprah was fired from her first television job. Steve Jobs was kicked out of his own company. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. What if they'd stopped there? What if they'd taken failure as a final verdict instead of feedback? Failure is not the end. It's an edit. It's a rough draft in the story of your success. The question is, will you let the rough draft stop you, or will you keep rewriting? Every failure in your 20s is an investment in wisdom you'll use in your 30s and 40s. Every no is a redirection to something better. Every heartbreak refines your standards. Every setback sharpens your focus. Nothing is wasted unless you refuse to learn. So fall, but fall forward. Fail, but fail fast, because speed matters. The longer you sit in shame, the harder it is to move. The faster you reflect, the quicker you evolve. That's why some people seem to grow so rapidly. They're not luckier, they're quicker to process pain. Your 20s are not the time to build an image of perfection. They're the time to build a foundation of resilience. Let failure humble you. not haunt you. Let it make you teachable, not timid. Let it push you toward clarity, not away from courage. You'll start to notice something strange when you fail forward long enough. Confidence starts to replace fear. You'll stop needing external validation because you'll have internal evidence that you can handle whatever comes. You'll stop waiting for ideal conditions and start creating progress under imperfect ones. And that's when life changes. Because when fear no longer controls your decisions, everything opens up. You try more, risk more, learn more, and grow faster than you ever thought possible. You stop existing and start evolving. So, stop waiting for permission to live. The people who win in their 20s are not the ones who make no mistakes. They're the ones who treat mistakes as mentors. Every time you fail forward, your future self becomes stronger, wiser, and braver. Remember this. Failure doesn't disqualify you. Quitting does. You can start over as many times as you need to. You can rebuild as many times as it takes. You can evolve, pivot, and refine. You're not behind. You're being built. So fall, but fall forward. Because as long as you rise again, you are not losing. You are learning. And that's how your internal compass sharpens. Through experience, reflection, and the quiet courage to try again tomorrow. Chapter 5. Relationships that shape your future. Your 20s are a battlefield of influence. Every voice, every friendship, every relationship you allow into your life is either sharpening you or dulling you. You may not realize it, but who you walk with is quietly building or breaking your destiny. You can't build a strong future surrounded by weak influences. You can't walk in purpose while keeping company with people who mock discipline, downplay growth, or distract you from your calling. If you ever want to know where your life is headed, look around you. The 5 people closest to you are the blueprint of your next 5 years. Their mindset becomes your mindset. Their habits infect your habits. Their language becomes your language. You begin to mirror their belief systems, even unconsciously. This is why your relationships are not casual. They are directional. You must treat them like the steering wheel of your life. Most people in their 20s underestimate this truth. They think friendships are just about vibes, laughter, or shared interests. But life is deeper than that. Energy is contagious. Mindsets transfer. You can't spend every day with people who complain about everything, blame everyone, and still expect to live a life of power and progress. Their mediocrity will slowly numb your ambition. You must learn to protect your space with the same intensity you protect your dreams. The power of community in your 20s. You were not designed to walk alone, but you also weren't designed to walk with everyone. The right community doesn't just support you, it stretches you. It doesn't just comfort you, it challenges you. The right people will not let you settle for average when greatness is within your reach. They will call you out when you're playing small. They will remind you who you are when you forget. But you must be intentional about who those people are. Stop waiting for better friends to appear. Start becoming the kind of person that attracts them. People of value are drawn to purpose, not pity. They look for those who are hungry for growth, not attention. You don't find a powerful community by complaining that no one understands you. You build one by living with clarity, integrity, and passion. Friends that drain versus friends that sharpen. You already know the difference, don't you? There are friends who lift you when you fall, and there are friends who laugh when you fall. There are people who feed your faith, and there are people who feed your fears. You must learn to discern the difference. Every friendship you maintain costs energy, time, and emotion. So ask yourself, what return am I getting from this investment? Some friendships are emotional black holes. No matter how much you pour in, you come out empty. Others are spiritual gyms. They challenge you to grow muscles you didn't know you had. Your 20s are too critical for you to waste them on people who celebrate your comfort zone. You need people who celebrate your growth zone. Here's the truth. You will outgrow some friendships. That's not arrogance. That's evolution. Don't apologize for evolving beyond people who refuse to grow. You cannot rescue those who are committed to drowning. Love them, yes, but don't let their chaos become your cage. Growth requires pruning. And pruning hurts, but it's necessary. Mentors, the shortcut to growth. Every person who became exceptional had someone who guided them. Mentors are not optional, they are accelerators. A mentor saves you from years of unnecessary mistakes by giving you wisdom that was paid for with their own scars. But mentorship requires humility. You can't be taught if you think you already know. In your 20s, seek out voices that make you uncomfortable in the right way. Mentors who ask hard questions. Leaders who tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. You must be willing to sit at the feet of wisdom, to listen, to apply, and to grow. Stop seeking validation from people on your level. Seek direction from those ahead of you. And remember, mentorship isn't always formal. Sometimes your mentor is a book, a sermon, a podcast, or someone you silently observe. What matters is not proximity, but teachability. Be humble enough to learn from anyone, and wise enough to know who not to learn from. Love and partnerships, the hidden accelerator or destroyer. Now, let's talk about one of the most defining relationships of your 20s, romantic relationships. Your choice of a life partner will either multiply your peace or magnify your pain. Who you love can either propel you toward purpose or pull you away from it. Many destinies have been delayed, not by enemies, but by entanglements. Before you fall in love, fall in purpose. Because when you know who you are, you won't settle for someone who doesn't align with that vision. Don't confuse chemistry with compatibility. Chemistry is emotion. Compatibility is direction. You can love someone deeply and still realize they're not right for your future. Ask yourself, does this relationship push me closer to God, to discipline, to clarity, to peace? Or does it drain my energy, stir my anxiety, and make me smaller? The answer to that question will tell you everything. In your 20s, relationships are not just about romance. They're about reinforcement. You need a partner who believes in your calling, who respects your boundaries, who supports your growth even when it challenges their comfort. The wrong relationship can silence your voice, dim your fire, and steal years of your potential. But the right one can awaken purpose you didn't even know was sleeping inside you. The strength of boundaries. Love and friendship without boundaries will suffocate your future. You must learn to say no even to good people when it means saying yes to your growth. You're not called to please everyone. You're called to fulfill your assignment. Stop letting guilt dictate your decisions. Your boundaries are not barriers. They're the gates that protect your peace. You don't need to explain your boundaries to people who truly value you. They will respect them. The ones who constantly test them are the ones who benefited from your lack of them. Protect your mental and emotional space like a sacred temple, because that's exactly what it is. You cannot hear your purpose clearly in the noise of people's demands. Becoming the kind of friend you want to attract. Here's the part most people miss. You must become what you seek. You want loyal friends? Be loyal. You want honest people? Speak truth. You want supportive community? Celebrate others genuinely. You attract what you embody. Don't pray for powerful people while walking in mediocrity. Build yourself until powerful people see you as one of them. In the end, your relationships will define the rhythm of your growth. They will either accelerate your destiny or delay it. You owe it to your future to choose wisely. You owe it to yourself to prune ruthlessly. You owe it to your calling to surround yourself with people who remind you who you are and where you're going. Your 20s are the decade where relationships either build your empire or burn your energy. Choose builders. Choose believers. Choose those who see your potential even when you doubt it. And more importantly, become one of those people for someone else. Because when you do, your community becomes your mirror. And one day, you'll look around and realize that you've built not just friendships, but a foundation of destiny. This is how you shape your future. One relationship at a time, one boundary at a time, one courageous decision at a time. And when you master this, you won't just walk into your purpose. You'll have a tribe that runs with you into it. Chapter 6, The Work That Fulfills You. There comes a moment in your 20s when the word work begins to feel heavier than it used to. It's no longer just about what you do to make money. It's about who you are becoming through what you do. Suddenly, everyone around you seems to be figuring it out. Some have shiny job titles, others have businesses, Some are posting motivational quotes about hustle, and a few are already calling themselves CEOs of brands that barely exist. And then there's you, still trying to understand what fulfillment even looks like. The truth? The 20s are noisy. Everyone is working, posting, building, and grinding, but not everyone is fulfilled. Some are busy out of fear of being left behind, while others are chasing job titles like lifeboats in a storm. But here's the hard truth you must face. Career and calling are not the same thing. A career is what you do for a living. A calling is what you were made for. A career gives you a salary. A calling gives you satisfaction. A career can be taken away. A calling grows with you. Yet, because of the pressure to make it, many young people chase careers without ever pausing to ask if those careers align with who they truly are. You may have been told that finding the right job is the key to happiness, but fulfillment doesn't come from finding the perfect work. It comes from doing your work with purpose. Let's be real. Nobody really tells you this early enough. Society celebrates the external success of a job, not the internal satisfaction of a calling. You're told to study something marketable, not something meaningful. You're advised to choose a profession that pays well, not one that feels right. And yet, every day you scroll through your phone, you see people who seem to have both. People who love what they do and get paid for it. You wonder, how did they figure out? What am I missing? The truth is, they didn't figure it out. They discovered it through movement. The only way to find fulfilling work is to stop waiting for the perfect job to appear and start experimenting. You have to test drive your way into clarity. Think of your 20s like an open field. You're meant to explore. You're meant to try things. The problem is, many people treat their first job like a marriage when it's really more of a date. You don't have to commit forever. You just have to learn. Every role, every project, every internship or freelance gig is a clue to who you are and who you're becoming. Don't despise small beginnings. Don't despise boring beginnings either. Some of the most successful people today began in jobs that had nothing to do with their eventual careers. The difference is that they paid attention. If you're intentional, every experience teaches you something about your strengths, your limits, your patience, your people skills, or your preferences. You might discover that you hate sitting in an office or that you love solving complex problems. You might realize that your gift isn't in the spotlight, but in building systems that make others shine. You might even find that what you thought you wanted isn't what you need. That's not failure. That's discovery. Let's talk about the myth of the perfect job. The perfect job doesn't exist. Every job has dull moments, difficult bosses, and draining days. The idea that there's a job out there that will make you wake up excited every single morning is a lie that fuels restlessness. Real fulfillment doesn't come from what you do. It comes from how you see what you do. If you approach your work as a platform to grow, to serve, and to develop excellence, even the smallest task becomes meaningful. But here's what many people miss. Fulfillment is not found in chasing passion alone. Passion fades when purpose is missing. Some people say, follow your passion, but passion is often seasonal. One year you're passionate about photography, the next you're interested in tech, and before you know it, you're applying for an NGO role because it feels impactful. But purpose gives passion direction. It gives your work a sense of why. That's why two people can do the same job, and one feels drained while the other feels alive. The difference is not the role, it's the reason. Building a fulfilling career is not a sprint. It's a layering process. Every job, every skill, every experience adds something to your foundation. The 20s are not about being perfect at something. They're about becoming competent at something. You're laying bricks that will compound over decades. The skill you learn while managing a small project today might be the same one that helps you lead a company in 15 years. The discipline you build while working under a difficult boss might become the emotional strength you need to run your own business. The patience you practice while doing a job you don't love might be preparing you for the dream opportunity that's not yet open. So stop despising the process. Stop comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 10. You're not late, you're learning. You're not behind, you're building. If you want work that fulfills you, start by asking better questions. Instead of asking, "What job will make me rich?" ask, "What kind of problems do I enjoy solving?" Instead of asking, "What company should I work for?" ask, "What kind of impact do I want to create?" Instead of obsessing over dream jobs, focus on developing dream skills. Skills compound, titles expire. And speaking of skills, your 20s are the perfect time to build them. Learn how to communicate clearly. Learn how to manage your time. Learn to write well, speak confidently, and think critically. Learn how to handle people. Learn to adapt. These are not soft skills, they're survival skills. In a world changing this fast, the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is more valuable than any degree. The people who thrive are not those who found their dream job at 25. They're the ones who kept growing no matter where they were planted. They understood that purpose is portable. It travels with you. You can live on purpose in a corporate office, in a startup, in a nonprofit, or even while freelancing from home. What matters is not where you work, but how you work. And while we're here, let's address something else: money. Too many people trade their purpose for paychecks. They take jobs they hate in industries they don't believe in, all for the comfort of a consistent salary. Don't misunderstand. Money matters. Bills are real. But money without meaning leads to quiet misery. If your work drains your soul, it's not sustainable. You must find a balance between practicality and passion, between what pays you and what fulfills you. Sometimes that means taking a job for stability while building your dream on the side. Sometimes it means saying yes to an opportunity that doesn't pay much but aligns with your long-term purpose. The goal is not to choose between money and meaning, but to design a life where both can coexist. Your 20s are not a time to find the one right job. They're a time to build the right you. Work is not just about earning a living. It's about learning how to live. It's the classroom where you discover discipline, humility, and creativity. It's where you learn to show up even when you don't feel like it, because that's what maturity looks like. So, if you're feeling lost right now, uncertain about your career path, unsure if you're even on the right track, take a deep breath. You are not failing. You are forming. Every experiment, every mistake, every late-night doubt is part of the process of uncovering who you're becoming. The work that fulfills you may not look glamorous at first. It may come through detours, disappointments, or even doors that close. But fulfillment is not found at the end of the road. It's built along the journey. You become fulfilled when you decide that every job, every project, and every season will make you better, wiser, and more aligned with your purpose. In the end, fulfillment is not about the work you do. It's about the person you become while doing it. Chapter 7: Money, Freedom, and Meaning. Money, the one word that sits quietly behind almost every major decision in your 20s. The degree you choose, the job you accept, the friendships you keep, the city you move to. Somewhere in the background, money is whispering its influence. It's not evil, it's not holy, it's just powerful. And whether you learn to master it or let it master you will determine the level of freedom you experience for the rest of your life. Most people don't like to talk about money, at least not honestly. We talk about earning it, flaunting it, or pretending it doesn't control us. But deep down, money affects how we think about ourselves and how we define success. You see, the 20s are not just about how much money you make. They're about the relationship you build with money. That relationship will either bring peace or pressure. If you treat money like a scorecard, you'll always feel like you're losing because someone will always be ahead. But if you treat money like a tool, you'll learn how to use it to build the life you truly want. Let's start with this truth. Your financial habits in your 20s will shape your future options. It's not about how much you earn right now. It's about what you're becoming capable of handling. A small, disciplined income beats a large, careless one every time. Yet, too many young adults chase bigger salaries without first mastering the habits that sustain wealth. They want more income without structure, more opportunities without discipline, and more comfort without clarity. But here's the thing about money. It's not neutral. It amplifies who you already are. If you're careless when you have a little, you'll be chaotic when you have a lot. If you're stingy when you're broke, you'll still be stingy when you're rich. Money doesn't transform character, it exposes it. That's why the 20s are not primarily for making millions. They're for building financial wisdom. And financial wisdom begins with this simple mindset shift. Budgeting and saving are not forms of restriction. They're forms of freedom. Most people hear the word budget and immediately think of deprivation, as if it means cutting joy out of their lives. But budgeting isn't about saying no to fun. It's about saying yes to the future. It's a declaration that you are in control, not your impulses. Every budget is a quiet act of rebellion against the culture of instant gratification. It says, I will not let short-term pleasure rob me of long-term peace. Saving, too, is often misunderstood. You're not saving to look disciplined. You're saving to buy freedom. Freedom to walk away from toxic jobs. Freedom to say yes to opportunities. Freedom to rest without fear. Freedom to give generously. That's what savings buy, options. And the more options you have, the less you'll feel trapped by life's demands. Unfortunately, that's not how most 20-somethings live. Many live paycheck to paycheck, not because they earn too little, but because they spend without purpose. The world teaches you to measure success by what you own, not by what you keep. You scroll through endless feeds of vacations, gadgets, clothes, and lifestyle aesthetics and begin to equate appearance with achievement. You start thinking, if I don't look successful, people will think I'm failing. But comparison is the enemy of contentment, and discontentment is expensive. The problem isn't social media. It's the mindset it feeds, the quiet fear that you're falling behind. That fear makes you spend money you don't have to impress people who aren't even paying attention. And in the process, you trade peace for pressure. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You can look rich and still be broke. You can dress the part, post the pictures, and still have no financial stability. But you can also be quietly building, saving, investing, and planning. And that's where real power lies. The loudest people often have the least. The quiet ones, the ones who are consistent and intentional, are building real freedom. Now let's confront another cultural lie, the trap of trading money for meaning. It's easy to make decisions based purely on paychecks. A job promises more money, so you take it, even if it suffocates your soul. You work 60 hours a week for a company whose values you despise, just so you can afford more things you don't even have time to enjoy. And slowly, without noticing, you become what you earn, not who you are. The question is, at what cost? What's the point of having more money if you have less peace? What's the point of being financially successful but emotionally bankrupt? Now, don't get me wrong, money is essential. You can't live on passion alone. But when money becomes your master, meaning evaporates, you start living for the next raise instead of the next revelation. You start chasing promotions instead of purpose. And over time, the life you once dreamed of becomes a golden cage, comfortable but confining. Here's the truth. Money is a terrible master, but a powerful servant. When you learn to manage money, it becomes a platform for purpose. You stop asking, how much can I get? And start asking, what can I build? That's when money becomes meaningful, when it starts fueling something beyond your ego. Balancing purpose with practicality doesn't mean you have to pick one over the other. It means learning to make money work for your calling, not against it. You can pursue your dreams responsibly. You can build businesses ethically. You can earn well and live well without losing your soul in the process. But you must decide early that you will not let money define your worth. That decision starts with self-awareness. Ask yourself, why do I want to be rich? Is it to prove something? To silence insecurity? To buy acceptance? Or to create impact and freedom? Your motives matter because they shape your methods. When your motive is validation, you'll chase shortcuts. But when your motive is vision, you'll choose patience. Money built on insecurity always leads to instability. But wealth built on purpose creates peace. Now let's get practical, because purpose doesn't mean carelessness. You need a plan. Learn how to budget. Track your spending. Build an emergency fund, even if it's small. Learn how to invest wisely, not emotionally. Don't spend everything you earn. Let your money grow while you sleep. Learn to delay gratification. That phone upgrade can wait. That savings habit cannot. Financial maturity is not about being stingy. It's about being strategic. It's about learning to say, I can, but I choose not to. It's the discipline of knowing when to spend, when to save, and when to sow. Because giving is also a part of financial growth. The more generous you become, the less control money has over you. And here's something else most people overlook. Wealth is not measured by what's in your bank account. It's measured by your ability to rest. If you can't sleep because of your bills, you're not wealthy. You're worried. Real wealth is peace. It's freedom. It's the ability to make decisions from clarity, not desperation. That's what good financial habits buy you. Not luxury, but liberty. So in your 20s, stop romanticizing the hustle that burns you out. Stop idolizing lifestyles built on debt. Don't let the illusion of success rob you of the joy of progress. The car, the apartment, the designer items, they mean nothing if they come with anxiety. It's better to build slowly and sleep peacefully than to rise quickly and live restlessly. Your goal should not just be to make a living. It should be to make space to think, to grow, to serve, to create. Money is meant to expand your capacity, not shrink your soul. Use it to travel, to learn, to give, to build experiences that shape you. That's how meaning enters the equation. At the end of the day, the most dangerous thing isn't poverty. It's living without purpose while appearing successful. The world will call you rich. Your soul will call you poor. So build wealth, yes. Learn to multiply your resources. Learn to earn well. But never forget why. Earn to empower. Save to build freedom. Spend to express gratitude. Give to reflect love. If you can do that, money will never own you. It will serve you. And that's the point of it all. Freedom and meaning. Because true freedom isn't just being debt-free or financially stable. It's waking up knowing that your choices are not controlled by fear or pressure. It's being able to say, I don't have everything I want, but I'm not enslaved to get it. That's the sweet spot, where purpose meets peace and wealth meets wisdom. In your 20s, you're writing your money story. Make it one worth reading. One where you didn't just chase riches, but built rhythm. One where you didn't just earn, but evolved. One where your financial life became a tool for a meaningful one. Remember, your 20s are not about how much you can accumulate. They're about how much you can align. Because when your money, values, and purpose align, life becomes less about survival and more about significance. Chapter 8. Spirituality and Deeper Anchors. You can have everything, the job, the relationship, the followers, the money, and still feel hollow inside. It's one of the great paradoxes of our time. We've never had more comfort, yet never felt more restless. We've never been more connected, yet never felt more alone. Something in the soul is starving, and we're trying to feed it with things that don't satisfy. The 20s are often noisy years, full of ambition, confusion, and movement. Everyone is chasing something: success, attention, validation, progress. But beneath the chase, there's a quiet question that refuses to go away. What is this all for? That question is the whisper of your soul asking for meaning, asking for something deeper than goals, something bigger than achievement. And here's the truth. You will never understand purpose until you understand depth. You can climb every mountain of success, but if your soul isn't anchored, one strong wind will knock you down. The world celebrates speed, but speed without direction is chaos. That's why spirituality matters. It slows you down long enough to ask the questions that truly shape your destiny. Let's be honest. Spirituality has become a loaded word. For some, it means religion. For others, mindfulness or energy or vibes. But no matter what label you give it, spirituality is about anchoring your soul. It's about finding what holds you steady when everything around you shakes. Because life will shake you. The storms will come. Heartbreak, rejection, disappointment, failure. You can't prevent them. What you can control is whether you have roots deep enough to survive them. If your identity is built on external success, one job loss will make you feel worthless. If your confidence depends on people's opinions, one rejection will destroy your peace. If your joy depends on constant excitement, one quiet season will make you feel lifeless. That's why you need an anchor, something unshakable beneath all the shifting seasons. Faith is that anchor. It doesn't mean religion in a rigid sense. It means knowing there's more to life than what you can see. It's believing that your life isn't random. It's designed. That you're not an accident, you're assigned. And that belief alone changes how you move through your 20s. Because when you know your life is guided, you stop panicking over the timeline. You stop rushing to prove yourself. You start trusting that even detours have direction. When you live without spiritual grounding, you drift. You wake up every day reacting to the next demand, the next deadline, the next dopamine hit from your phone. You become busy, but not productive. Connected, but not fulfilled. You might even look like you're thriving on the outside, but inside you're collapsing quietly, slowly, invisibly. Because no one taught you how to rest your soul. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't find yourself by scrolling. You find yourself by stilling. You don't discover purpose in noise. You discover it in silence. And that's where spirituality begins, in the quiet. In the moments where you step back, breathe, and listen. Not to the world, not to the pressure, but to that still inner voice that keeps saying, there's more. If you don't slow down, you'll spend your whole life achieving things that don't matter. You'll chase applause and misalignment. You'll accumulate followers and lose direction. You'll stay busy, but not fulfilled. The point of spirituality isn't to make you mystical. It's to make you anchored. You have to learn to sit still with your soul, to ask hard questions. What do I really believe about life? What am I chasing and why? Who am I becoming in the process? If you can't answer those questions, the noise of the world will answer them for you, and you may not like what it turns you into. Spirituality, in its purest form, is the art of alignment, aligning your outer life with your inner truth. It's when what you do matches who you are. It's when your public life doesn't contradict your private convictions. It's when peace replaces panic because you've built from the inside out, not the outside. In your 20s, you'll be tempted to prioritize hustle over wholeness. The world will tell you that stillness is laziness, that rest is weakness, and that reflection is wasted time. Don't believe that. Reflection is the foundation of revelation. When you pause, you gain perspective. When you pray, meditate, or journal, you hear truth that noise has been drowning out. Those moments don't make you unproductive. They make you powerful. Spiritual practices don't have to look the same for everyone. For some, it's prayer, a conversation with the divine that keeps you grounded in gratitude. For others, it's meditation, learning to quiet your thoughts and be fully present. For others still, it's solitude, shutting off the world long enough to remember who you are. Whatever your expression, you need one. Because without spiritual rhythm, you'll live in emotional chaos. Let's be real. In your 20s, you'll be pulled in 1,000 directions. Everyone has advice. Everyone has opinions. The internet has 1,000,000 definitions of success, and all of them contradict each other. If you don't have a deeper anchor, you'll spend your life trying to be everything to everyone and end up being nothing to yourself. Faith gives you focus. It reminds you of what actually matters. It tells you that your worth isn't based on likes, your value isn't measured by income, and your significance doesn't depend on status. You are valuable because you exist. You are significant because you are sent. You don't have to prove that to anyone. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are not the loudest. They're the most centered. They walk into chaos and don't lose themselves. They face loss and don't crumble. They move through life with calm conviction because their identity isn't up for negotiation. That's what spirituality gives you. Not perfection, but peace. But peace doesn't come automatically. You have to practice it. You have to create daily moments that connect you to something beyond the temporary. It could be gratitude, journaling every morning. It could be reading sacred texts or reflective books. It could be taking long walks without your phone. It could be volunteering, helping others, or simply sitting in silence before you start a day. These are not rituals. They're reminders. Reminders that your soul matters as much as your goals. And here's something you need to understand. If you don't feed your soul, the world will feed your anxiety. The news will feed your fear. Social media will feed your envy. Comparison will feed your insecurity. And before long, You'll be spiritually malnourished, starving for meaning while drowning in information. So build rhythms that nourish you. Surround yourself with people who speak life, not noise. Read things that expand your soul, not just your mind. Spend time with people who make you want to become deeper, not just more popular. Depth attracts destiny. When your roots go deep, your fruit lasts long. And yes, faith doesn't mean you won't struggle. Even the most grounded people have seasons of doubt. But here's the difference. People of faith know how to find their way back. They know where to run when life hurts. They don't get lost in the storm because they remember the anchor still holds. If you've ever felt distant, dry, or disconnected from God, peace, or meaning, you're not broken. You're human. The emptiness isn't a punishment. It's an invitation. It's your soul saying, come home. Come back to stillness. Come back to purpose. Come back to the source. Because the truth is, your 20s will test your faith like never before. You'll face unanswered prayers, confusing detours, and moments that make you question everything you once believed. Don't run from those seasons. Grow through them. Faith isn't proven when everything works out. It's proven when nothing makes sense, but you still trust. So anchor yourself. Let your values, not your emotions, lead your decisions. Let your faith define your direction, not culture's trends. Let your quiet time become your secret weapon, because strength doesn't come from striving. It comes from stillness. And maybe, just maybe, that's what the 20s are really about. Not just finding a career or building wealth, but learning how to live anchored. How to build a soul that doesn't collapse under success. Because success without soul is still failure. Achievement without peace is still emptiness. And the world doesn't need more people who are busy. It needs people who are whole. So take care of your inner world. Protect your peace like it's gold. Because it is. When the applause fades, when the lights go off, when the plans fall through, your faith, your peace, and your purpose will be all you have. And if you've built those well, you'll be unshakable. The truth is, spirituality doesn't take you out of life. It puts you deeper into it. It helps you see beauty in the ordinary, purpose in the pain, and growth in the waiting. It helps you stop rushing through life and start actually living it. So before you chase more, stop and ask, what am I anchored to? Because if your anchor is strong, no storm can sink you. Chapter 9. Designing your life on purpose. Most people don't design their lives. They drift. They wake up, rush to work, scroll through their phones, wait for Friday, and then repeat. Weeks turn into months and months into years, until one day, they wake up wondering how life passed them by. The truth? Most people don't live intentionally. They live reactively, constantly responding to demands, deadlines, and distractions. Their lives are built on other people's expectations instead of their own convictions. But here's the raw truth. If you don't design your life, someone else will. Someone will design your schedule, your priorities, your dreams. The system will design your routine. Culture will design your definition of success. Society will hand you a script. And if you don't pause long enough to question it, you'll live it out word for word, even if it doesn't fit your soul. Your 20s are your chance to stop drifting, to pick up the pen and start designing. Stop drifting, start designing. Drifting feels safe. It requires no courage, no vision, no decision. You just go with the flow, letting life happen to you. But here's the irony. Drifting is never really safe. It just feels easier than steering. Because when you drift, you don't end up where you want to go. You end up where the current takes you. And life's current doesn't always flow toward purpose. It often flows toward comfort, distraction, and conformity. Designing your life means taking responsibility for your direction. It means asking hard questions like, what do I really want my life to stand for? What kind of person am I becoming? Where am I wasting my energy? What am I tolerating that's slowly draining me? These questions are uncomfortable, but they're also necessary. Because no one drifts into greatness. You have to design for it. Purposeful living doesn't start with a 5-year plan. It starts with awareness. It's realizing that your time, your energy, your choices, they're all currency. And the way you spend them reveals what you truly value. So if you don't like what your life is producing, Don't panic, redesign it. The power of intentional habits. Here's something life will teach you quickly. Dreams don't work unless your habits do. You can pray for success, visualize growth, and speak affirmations. But if your habits are pulling in a different direction, you're fighting yourself. The most successful, peaceful, purpose-driven people aren't lucky. They're consistent. They design their days to align with their deepest priorities. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on structure. Because motivation is temporary. Systems sustain you when emotions fade. You want to get healthy? Start with one habit. Drink water, sleep early, take walks. You want to write a book? Write 200 words a day. You want to grow spiritually? Set aside 15 minutes of quiet daily. The smallest consistent action will outgrow the grandest intention. Your 20s are when you build the muscle of consistency. And that muscle will determine how far you go in every area of life. Because life doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to disciplined doing. Design your habits, and your habits will design your future. The power of saying no. Designing your life also means mastering one word, no. Because every yes is a trade. When you say yes to something, you're automatically saying no to something else. Your rest, your time, your peace, your focus. Most people live scattered because they never learn to guard their focus. They try to please everyone, attend every event, chase every idea, and end up exhausted but unfulfilled. Clarity requires boundaries. If you want to live with direction, you must learn to say no without guilt. No to what distracts. No to what doesn't align. No to what drains your peace. No to people who constantly take but never give. When you say no to the wrong things, you create space for the right things to grow. And yes, people will misunderstand you. They'll say you've changed. That's fine. Growth always looks like rebellion to those who are stuck. You weren't created to live a life of constant approval. You were created to live with divine purpose. Aligning your habits with your vision. Living intentionally means aligning what you do daily with what you ultimately want. It's not about perfection. It's about direction. If your vision is to be emotionally healthy, but you keep feeding yourself comparison and gossip, your daily choices are sabotaging your future. If you want to build wealth, but every paycheck disappears into lifestyle inflation, you're designing poverty with your habits. If you dream of deep relationships, but you never make time for real conversations, you're building loneliness by default. You are always designing something, either your dream or your distraction. The good news? You can always redesign. Sit down with your journal and map your life honestly. Where are you now? What do you want to be? What needs to change? When your daily habits and your long-term vision start to agree, peace follows. Because peace isn't the absence of chaos. It's alignment between your values and your reality. Creating a flexible life plan. Let's talk about plans. Many 20-somethings fear planning because they've seen people become rigid, obsessed with timelines and control. But a plan isn't a prison. It's a compass. It gives you direction, not dictatorship. Your life plan doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be personal. Here's a simple way to start designing yours. 1. Define your values. What truly matters to you? Faith, family, growth, creativity, freedom, impact. Write them down. 2. Define your priorities. What's non-negotiable this season? Health, spiritual growth, saving money, building skills. 3. Define your rhythm. What habits will make those priorities visible in your daily life? 4. Define your direction. Where do you want to be in 3 years? Not in status, but in substance. Then, review it regularly. Life changes, so should your plan. What matters is that you're steering your life with intention, not drifting on autopilot. Growth is iterative, not instant. One of the biggest mistakes young adults make is expecting instant results. We live in an era of overnight virality and microwave success stories. But true growth is slow. It's layered. It's invisible before it's undeniable. Designing your life means embracing process, showing up even when nothing seems to be changing. The gym sessions that don't show results for months. The budget that feels tight but builds discipline. The spiritual practices that seem boring but ground your heart. That's where transformation hides, in the quiet, consistent decisions that nobody claps for. Don't despise slow growth. It's the most sustainable kind. Fast success often burns out. But slow, rooted success, that's legacy. Living on purpose in a distracted world. Let's be honest, designing your life in this age is hard. Distraction is the new disease. Every second, your attention is under attack by notifications, trends, algorithms, and advertisements that make you feel like you're missing out. But distraction doesn't just steal your time, it steals your direction. So here's a hard truth. If you can't manage your attention, you can't manage your life. Put your phone down sometimes. Be present with your thoughts. Reflect, pray, plan. Build moments of stillness where you can actually hear yourself think. Purpose doesn't reveal itself in noise. It whispers in silence. You can't design your life if you never slow down enough to see it. Purpose as a daily practice. Purpose isn't a single moment of discovery. It's a daily discipline of alignment. It's not found in one grand revelation, but built in ordinary obedience. It's how you show up when nobody's watching. It's how you treat people when you're stressed. It's what you do when you don't feel inspired. Every day is a small design, a blueprint for who you're becoming. So stop waiting for a lightning bolt of clarity. Start living with quiet conviction. Show up, reflect, adjust, repeat. That's how purpose grows, one intentional day at a time. A final word. You are the architect. Your 20s are not a waiting room. They're a workshop. You're not waiting for your real life to begin. You're building it, piece by piece, habit by habit, choice by choice. Designing your life on purpose isn't about perfection. It's about participation. You may not control everything, but you can control how you respond, what you prioritize, and who you become. Don't just exist. Architect your existence. Because at the end of the day, no one will care more about your purpose than you. No one else will write your story. You have one life. Design it like it matters. Conclusion. Your 20s are not a waiting room. You've been told that your 20s are a time to figure it out. To wander, experiment, try, fail, and maybe one day, maybe, find yourself. But let's be honest. Many people spend their 20s waiting for clarity, waiting for the right time, waiting for success, love, or purpose to show up like a package at their doorstep. And while they wait, life moves. The truth is, your 20s are not a waiting room. They're a construction site. This is where the groundwork of your life is being laid. Every habit, every relationship, every mindset you form in this decade is building something. Stability or chaos, peace or pressure, purpose or confusion. You don't drift into a meaningful life, you build one. The myth of later. We live in a generation addicted to later. I'll start saving later. I'll pray more later. I'll figure out my purpose later. But later is a lie that delays destiny. What you postpone becomes what you lose. Because the small things you do today, reading instead of scrolling, reflecting instead of reacting, saying no instead of pleasing, those are the building blocks of who you'll be tomorrow. You don't find purpose in the future. You build it in the present. Every decision you make in your 20s, how you treat your time, your money, your body, your relationships, is a silent vote for the kind of person you're becoming. So stop waiting. The time is now. The power of small beginnings. You don't need a viral idea, a perfect job, or a flawless 5-year plan. What you need is movement. The power of your 20s isn't in grand gestures. It's in small, intentional steps repeated daily. You grow by trying, failing, adjusting, and showing up again. You find clarity not in overthinking, but in doing. Because clarity rarely comes before action. It comes through action. Stop saying, I don't know where to start. Start anywhere. Pick a direction. Learn a skill. Build a habit. Meet people who stretch you. Take opportunities that scare you. Even if it's messy, you'll learn more from movement than from fear. God never called you to understand every step, just to walk. Redefining success. Somewhere along the way, culture lied to you about what success means. It told you that success is about money, position, or popularity. It made you believe your worth is measured by your possessions or your followers. But success without meaning is just noise. You can win by the world's definition and still lose your soul. You can climb ladders leaning against the wrong wall. You can chase applause and end up empty. True success is inner peace. It's knowing you're living in alignment with your values and your calling. It's using your gifts to serve something greater than yourself. It's sleeping at night, knowing you're not faking who you are. The question isn't, am I successful yet? It's, am I becoming who I was created to be? Purpose is built, not found. Stop waiting for a lightning bolt of revelation. Purpose rarely appears as a grand announcement. It reveals itself slowly, through choices, consistency, curiosity, and obedience. Your purpose is hidden in what you're already doing, in the moments you serve, create, or lead without recognition. It's found in what makes you come alive, and sometimes in what breaks your heart. You won't discover your purpose one day like buried treasure. You'll build it, one decision, one discipline, one day at a time. The key is not knowing everything. It's being faithful with what you already know. Failing forward is still progress. If there's one truth to hold on to as you grow, it's this. Failure isn't final, it's formative. Every mistake carries a lesson. Every delay hides direction. Every disappointment builds depth. Your 20s will have detours, heartbreaks, wrong turns, and seasons that don't make sense. But don't waste them. Don't bury your pain. Process it. Don't numb it with distraction. Learn from it. Because the moments that break you are often the ones that shape you the most. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the classroom where success is taught. You need people. You can't build a meaningful life alone. Purpose grows best in community. Find friends who push you closer to your potential, not your comfort zone. Find mentors who've walked where you want to go. Find people who challenge your excuses and celebrate your progress. The wrong circle can keep you stuck in smallness. The right circle will remind you who you are when you forget. Your 20s aren't just about what you build. They're about who you're becoming and who you're building with. Design your direction. Don't drift, design. Every day, you're writing the story of your life. Be intentional about the plot. Be selective with the characters. Be clear about the theme. Decide what matters and build around it. If faith matters, give it time. If family matters, protect it. If creativity matters, make space for it. If health matters, prioritize it. Purpose doesn't thrive in chaos. It thrives in clarity. And clarity comes when you decide what you're no longer available for. The distractions, the noise, the approval chase, the endless comparison. You can't do everything, but you can do the right things with excellence. Legacy begins now. Your legacy doesn't begin when you're old. It begins with your next choice. It's not just what you leave behind. It's what you live out now. When you walk in purpose, you don't just inspire. You ignite others. You give people permission to be real, to be brave, to build lives that actually mean something. This generation doesn't need more influencers. It needs more examples. People who walk with integrity. People who live from conviction. People who refuse to settle for a life of noise over a life of meaning. Be one of them. You don't have to be perfect, just intentional. You won't get it all right. You'll have seasons of doubt and confusion. You'll outgrow people and versions of yourself. That's okay. Growth isn't clean, it's gritty. You don't need perfection to build a meaningful life. You just need direction. The goal is not to figure out everything. The goal is to take one clear step at a time and keep going even when the path feels unclear. Because direction always matters more than speed. Your 20s are your launch pad. Don't waste this decade waiting for permission. Don't waste it comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Don't waste it playing small to make others comfortable. Your 20s are your launch pad, not your holding cell. You have the freedom to build, to fail, to rebuild, to rise. You have the strength to start again. You have the power to design a life that reflects who you truly are. So start, right where you are, with what you have. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're becoming. A final word. You only get one life. Don't just live it, build it. Let every no protect your peace. Let every yes move you closer to purpose. Let every season teach you something valuable. Because one day, when you look back, you won't remember how perfect your plan was. You'll remember how faithful you were to what mattered. So breathe. Begin. Believe. Your 20s are not a waiting room. They're the foundation of everything you're becoming. Start building, on purpose,